Hi, everyone. Welcome back to English Podcast, Day 16 of the 30-Day English Challenge.
Day 16. Yesterday, we practiced phone calls. Today, we're staying in real-life territory with something everyone eventually needs, going to the doctor.
Ooh, this one's tough for me. Even in Khmer, I sometimes struggle to explain exactly what's wrong.
You're definitely not alone. A lot of learners can order food perfectly in English, but freeze completely when it comes to describing pain or symptoms.
It's true. I feel bad is about as far as my English usually gets, and that tells the doctor almost nothing.
I feel bad could mean anything from a headache to a broken arm. The doctor needs a lot more than that.
Fair point. Okay, so today's topic is at the doctor, describing symptoms.
Exactly. And honestly, this is one of those topics where clear English can genuinely make a difference in how quickly you get the right help.
Before the structure, let's talk about where this actually comes up, because it's not just doctor's visits, right?
Right. A doctor's office is the obvious one, but also a pharmacy when you're asking for the right medicine, or a nurse on the phone doing a quick check before your appointment.
Oh, and travel too, explaining a health problem to hotel staff, or in an unfamiliar country where you don't know anyone.
That's a scary one, trying to explain a stomach ache using hand gestures in a foreign pharmacy.
I've actually done that. A lot of pointing and a very confused pharmacist.
Right. And there's also just describing symptoms to a friend or family member so they know how to help you or whether you need to see someone.
Oh, and workplaces too, calling in sick and needing to explain briefly why you can't come in.
Exactly. This skill shows up in a lot more places than just the doctor's office itself.
And pharmacies too, when you're trying to describe something without actually being examined by a doctor first.
True. Do you have anything for a headache is a small sentence, but it needs to be clear enough for them to help you correctly.
Oh, and video call checkups too, which are getting more common now, explaining symptoms through a screen without the doctor even touching you.
That's a great point, actually. With a video call, your words matter even more since the doctor can't examine you as closely.
Okay, before the structure, one more question. Is there a cultural side to this too, like day one?
Actually, yes, an important one. In many English-speaking medical settings, doctors expect you to be specific and honest, even about uncomfortable details.
Really? Even things that feel embarrassing to mention?
Yes, especially those. Doctors are used to hearing everything, and leaving out details to feel less awkward can actually make it harder for them to help you.
Oh, that's a good point. I think a lot of us naturally want to downplay things just to seem polite or not make a big deal out of it.
Exactly, and we'll actually talk about that exact mistake later. For now, just remember specific and honest works much better than polite and vague.
Good tip. Okay, now I really want the structure. What is it?
It's simple. A good symptom description has 4 parts: what's wrong, how long you've had it, how it feels, and anything that makes it better or worse.
What's wrong, how long, how it feels, and better or worse. Let's try one.
Ready. I have a sore throat. I've had it for about 3 days now. It's a burning pain, especially when I swallow. It feels a little better when I drink warm tea.
See? What's wrong, sore throat, how long, 3 days, how it feels, burning, especially swallowing, better or worse, warm tea helps.
Let's do another one. I have a headache. It started yesterday afternoon and it's still here. It's a dull, constant pain, mostly around my temples. It gets worse when I look at my phone screen.
That's such a clear description. A doctor could actually work with that.
Exactly. That's the goal. Specific details in simple English are far more useful than vague general complaints.
I also noticed something. How it feels connects back to day 13, describing things clearly with real details instead of vague words.
Great connection. Just like describing a person, describing a symptom well means choosing 1 or 2 specific details, not a vague general word.
Can we try one more example, maybe from a different kind of person, just so listeners really understand?
Sure. Let's imagine a student describing a cold. I have a stuffy nose and a bit of a cough. It's been about 2 days. My throat feels scratchy, especially in the morning. Resting seems to help a little.
What's wrong? Stuffy nose and cough. How long? 2 days. How it feels? Scratchy throat. Better? Resting helps.
And one more, a working parent this time, describing back pain. My lower back has been hurting. It started about a week ago after I moved some furniture. It's a sharp pain when I bend down. Sitting for too long makes it worse.
After I moved some furniture, every parent's back pain origin story, honestly.
Right. And notice none of these examples used complicated medical vocabulary, just clear, simple words describing something real.
That's really reassuring. I always thought describing symptoms needed complicated medical terms I don't even know in my own language.
Not at all. Simple, specific English is always enough. Doctors care about clarity, not fancy vocabulary.
Okay, your turn. Pause the episode and explain a common health problem using the 4-part structure. What's wrong, how long you've had it, how it feels, and better or worse. Ready? Go.
Nice job. Now, here's a small tip. If a doctor asks you to rate your pain, like on a scale of 1 to 10, don't panic.
What should I say?
Just give your honest best guess. 1 or 2 means very mild, 5 means noticeable and uncomfortable, 9 or 10 means extremely severe. There's no perfect answer, just your honest feeling.
That's really helpful. I always freeze when someone asks me to put a number on pain.
It's just a quick, simple way to communicate severity fast. Any reasonable number is completely fine.
Is there a similar trick for describing how something feels? Sharp, dull, burning? I always mix those up.
Good question. Sharp means sudden and intense, like a quick stab. Dull means a low, constant ache, nothing sudden. Burning means it feels hot, like fire. Throbbing means it comes and goes in waves, like a heartbeat.
Oh, throbbing is such a useful word. I always just said it hurts a lot, but that's so much more precise.
Exactly. A few precise words like that can save a lot of confused back and forth of a doctor.
Mr. B, what mistakes do people usually make when describing symptoms? I feel like I've made a few of these already myself.
Good question. Mistake number 1, being too vague, like just saying, I feel bad, with absolutely no other detail.
Guilty, as we said at the very start of the episode.
Right. I feel bad tells the doctor practically nothing useful.
Okay, mistake 1, too vague. What's next?
Mistake number 2, forgetting to mention how long you've had the symptom. Duration is actually really important information for a doctor.
Oh, that's such a common thing to forget. I never think to mention since when unless someone directly asks me.
Right, so try to include it automatically, even without being asked. For 3 days or since yesterday makes a real difference.
What's mistake number 3?
Mistake number 3, downplaying symptoms out of politeness, like saying it's nothing when it's actually bothering you quite a lot.
I do this constantly. Oh, it's fine, really, while secretly in a lot of pain.
Very relatable, but not helpful for the doctor. Honest and specific always works better than polite and vague.
Okay, mistake number 4.
Mistake number 4, forgetting to mention allergies or medications you're already taking, which can actually be really important information.
Oh, that's such a good point. That's easy to forget if the doctor doesn't specifically ask.
Exactly, so it's worth mentioning early, even briefly. I'm allergic to penicillin is a short sentence that could really matter.
In my thoughtful side, is there a mistake number 5? There's always one more.
There is. Mistake number 5, forgetting to ask follow-up questions and just walking away without understanding the next steps.
Right, like not asking, what should I do next, or is this serious?
Exactly. Asking a simple question at the end makes sure you actually leave with useful information, not just confusion.
Quick bonus thought, what about the opposite problem? People who exaggerate everything and make a small cold sound like an emergency.
Good point. That happens too. Over-dramatizing can also confuse a doctor, making it harder to judge how serious things really are.
So there's a happy middle ground between it's nothing and I think I'm dying.
Exactly right. Somewhere in the middle, honest and clear, is exactly where you want to be.
5 mistakes, 5 easy fixes, plus 1 bonus balance to aim for. Okay, one more question. Does describing symptoms change depending on the situation? Formal versus casual? Like on day 1?
Great question. Yes. In a formal situation, like talking to an actual doctor, you stay clear, specific, and factual.
Like, I've had a fever for 2 days, along with a mild headache and general fatigue.
Exactly. Clear, medical appropriate, and specific, without unnecessary drama.
And in a casual situation, like telling a friend you're not feeling well.
In a casual situation, you can relax and be a bit more expressive. Ugh, I feel absolutely awful today. My whole body is achy and my head is pounding.
My head is pounding. Very dramatic, very casual, very relatable.
It's true. With a friend, a little drama is completely normal and even expected.
So, formal descriptions stay calm and clinical, and casual ones can be a lot more expressive.
Exactly. Same four-part structure underneath, just a different tone depending on who you're talking to.
Can we try one more? Maybe calling in sick to work, since we mentioned it earlier?
Sure. Formally, emailing your manager, I'm feeling unwell today and won't be able to come in. I'll keep you updated and catch up on anything I miss.
Casually texting a close coworker, "Ugh, I feel terrible. Staying home today. Can you cover my morning meeting?"
Ugh, I feel terrible. So much more honest than the polite work email version.
Exactly. Formal keeps things professional and brief. Casual lets the drama out a little.
Let's practice that difference. Pause again and describe the same symptom 2 ways, once formally, once casually. Go ahead.
Great job, everyone. Okay, let's move to word tour.
Word 1, symptom. This means a sign that shows you're not feeling well. Example, a sore throat is a common cold symptom.
Word 2, sore. This means painful, especially when touched or used. Example, my legs are really sore after that run.
Word 3, dizzy. This means feeling like everything is spinning or unsteady. Example, I felt dizzy when I stood up too fast.
Word 4, nauseous. This means feeling like you might vomit. Example, I felt nauseous after the long car ride.
Word 5, swelling. This means a part of the body that becomes bigger due to an injury or illness. Example, there's some swelling around my ankle.
Word 6, prescription. This means a doctor's written order for medicine. Example, the doctor gave me a prescription for antibiotics.
Word 7, diagnosis. This means the doctor's explanation of what's causing your problem. Example, the diagnosis was a mild infection.
Word 8, recover. This means to get better after being sick. Example, it usually takes a few days to recover from a cold.
Word 9, condition. This means a health problem, especially a long-term one. Example, he has a heart condition.
And word 10, treatment. This means the care or medicine given to help you get better. Example, the treatment worked really well for me.
One bonus word, queasy. This means feeling a bit sick in your stomach. Example, I felt a little queasy after breakfast.
11 great words. Try using 2 or 3 of them when you describe a symptom today. Now, let's move to say it better.
Instead of saying, I feel bad, you can say, I haven't been feeling well since yesterday.
Instead of saying, my head hurts, you can say, I've had a pretty bad headache since this morning.
Instead of saying, it's nothing, you can say, it's probably nothing serious, but I wanted to check.
Instead of saying, I'm sick, you can say, I think I might be coming down with something.
Instead of saying, give me medicine, you can say, is there anything you'd recommend for this?
Instead of saying, it hurts a lot, you can say, it's honestly pretty painful, especially when I move.
And instead of saying, I don't know what's wrong, you can say, I'm not really sure what's causing it, to be honest.
That last one sounds so much more natural than just, I don't know what's wrong.
Small changes, but they sound so much clearer and so much more useful to whoever's trying to help you.
I love that. Clear English used for something that actually matters in real life.
Well said. And remember, this is English Podcast. Simple English, real life, every day.
See you tomorrow for day 17.
Bye for now, and feel better soon, whatever's bothering you today.